right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Benefits of Wisdom. We often, look up the benefits of certain herbs, the benefits of fruits and vegetables and, certain foods, superfoods, the benefits of drinking water, the benefits of this and the benefits of that. So I had a thought in mind, and the thought in mind was just to look up the benefits of wisdom, just to see what would come up. And I came across a site, and the site said, 4 benefits to wisdom, which is more, but I just using this as a template, for the lesson. So the 4 benefits of wisdom would be good judgment, strong character, it brings honor, grows influence. And I read a little bit of the good judgment. Number 1, good judgment. A leader who has wisdom can better handle the challenges that arise from leading. This is because good judgment comes to those who are wise. Wisdom, like good judgment, comes with experience. Will Rogers said, good judgment comes from experience, and a lot of that comes from bad judgment. The important thing is to grow and learn from your experiences. When you have good judgment, you will always be solving problems, seeing better results, and moving forward. And that's true, And I always say that, like the problem, for lack of better words, is not, going off. The problem is not learning or not making mistakes. The problem is not learning from your mistakes, because mistakes bring forth experience, and experience brings forth wisdom. And the more experience you have, the better equipped you'll be to make better decisions in the future. All right. The next one would be strong character. It says, I believe having strong character should be the foundation of a leader's life. This starts when you know and follow your leadership core, which our leadership core would be what? The scriptures. It says strong character produces wisdom, which leads to the ability to positively impact others. This is because wise leaders have been through many different experiences and have maintained their integrity through it. If you are intentional in maintaining your character and growing in wisdom, then you will be unstoppable. So the benefits of wisdom spiritually are like the benefits of roots and herbs and fruits and vegetables and certain other foods physically. So number 3, it brings honor. The scriptures say before honor comes humility, and that is one way to gain honor, is to first be brought low to be brought high. It brings honor. Wisdom brings honor within your personal and professional life. Over time, this honor will lead to your lasting legacy. H.L. Mencken said, honor is simply the morality of superior men. That's bad. When you grow in wisdom, then your honor among others starts to rise. This is because your life is an example of someone worth following. Let me see. There's a precept in the Apocrypha. Let's see. Just bear with me one second. Just bear with me one second. Right. Ecclesiasticus 11:1. Wisdom lifteth up the head of him that is of low degree, and maketh them to sit among great men. So that was heavy, what he just said, pertaining to honor. It brings honor. And the guy H.L. mentioned said, honor is simply the morality of superior men. When you grow in wisdom, then your honor among others starts to rise. This is because your life is an example of someone worth following. Beautiful. And number 4, grows influence. Your wisdom will increase your ability to influence others. This is because you are and what you do, who you are and what you do attracts like-minded people. Those who have wisdom, talent, and a good track record. I don't know how much of that it caught, but I'm just going to keep going. It says, I'll read it again. Number 4, grows influence. Your wisdom will increase your ability to influence others. This is because who you are and what you do attracts like-minded people. Those who have wisdom, talent, and a good track record will want to follow you because of your wisdom. It's like the old saying, birds of a feather stick together. When you grow and have wisdom, it will increase your reach and influence. And this pretty much came about through the Spirit. I'm sitting here at the park, which I normally do sometimes, just to enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day. We're in the middle of October, 2020 year of prophecy. And it's a pretty warm day for an October. So what I did was I just came out here and I just went to Wisdom of Solomon. Something led me to it, the 10th chapter, and I just started reading. So we're going to read there, and we're going to show you the benefits of wisdom, the taking heed of wisdom, those that don't take heed to wisdom, and things of that nature. So let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 10:1. It says, she, meaning wisdom, prepared the first formed man of the world that was created alone, and brought him out of his out of his fall, Salakia, and gave him power to rule all things, because the Lord gave Adam that power. But when the unrighteous went away from her in his anger, he perished also the fury wherewith he murdered his brother. So you have examples of wisdom, and you have examples of those that are not wise. It said, for whose cause the earth being drowned with the flood, wisdom again preserved it, and directed the course of the righteous in a piece of wood of small value. Why? Because wisdom that directed Noah to build that ark, he was obedient. He took heed to the wisdom. He took heed to the calling. He applied it, did something about it, and the benefit of it was what? He was delivered, him and his family, from the flood that came upon all of the ungodly back then. It says, moreover, the nations in their wicked conspiracy, being confounded, she found out the righteous and preserved them blameless unto the Most High, and kept them strong against his tender compassion towards his son. It says, when the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man, dealing with Noah, who fled from, when the ungodly perished, this is dealing with Lot. She delivered the righteous man being Lot, who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities, of whose wickedness even to this day the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt is a monument of an unbelieving soul. Why? Because she didn't take heed to wisdom. She didn't follow wisdom. She didn't follow instruction. Now verse 8, it says, for regarding not wisdom, they got not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. So we got to read that again, because there's a whole lot that's being said right there. So it says, for regarding not wisdom, they got not only this hurt, because they didn't take heed to the instruction of wisdom. They didn't seek the benefit of wisdom, that they knew not the things which were good. See? But also because the good was what? Following of wisdom, Yeah, it brings humility. It brings you down to a low degree. But the ultimate benefit is what? It's salvation, protection. To be safe. It says, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness. Why? Because they didn't listen, and they were destroyed. They were destroyed by the flood. The other ones, Sodom and Gomorrah, were destroyed by nuclear fusion, nuclear fusion that the Most High caused to come together, the elements illuminating into fire, or being or coming together, creating fire, raining down upon those cities, because they didn't take heed to the message of them not being wicked. They didn't follow wisdom, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. Yeah, because the Lord brought the judgment, just like He's going to bring the judgment now. And wisdom in this time is only going to benefit the elect. It says, now check this out. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. Yeah, so those that gave heed to wisdom, applied the principles of wisdom, received the benefits of wisdom, which is what? Protection. Now we're going to go to a few examples of this in the scriptures, in the in the Bible, which that was the Apocrypha. And we're going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, the ninth chapter. Ecclesiastes, the ninth chapter. And just bear with me while I get the verse. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 13. It says, this wisdom have I seen also under the sun, and it seemed great unto me. There was a little city, and few men within it. And there came a great king against it, and besieged it, and built bulwarks against it. So this city was in peril of what? Being destroyed. Okay? It says, now there was found in it a poor, wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city, yet no man remembered the same poor man. So they took heed to the wisdom he gave them. They were delivered by the wisdom he gave them, but afterwards they didn't remember the man after that. Why? Because he was poor. And that's how they treat men of wisdom, because a man of wisdom is usually poor. Not in all cases, but for the most part. We use the example of this guy Eustace Mullins, right? He was a historian. He had wisdom. I mean, he went into a whole lot of different things that the average person out there had no clue about, and through application, he was able to find a lot of information. But yet this man, with all his wisdom in this world, he was still poor. You see? So a lot of times with wisdom, when a man is poor, that wisdom is despised. Although if a person take heed to it, as in the case of this the poor man, they were delivered. They used his wisdom to be delivered, but afterwards pretty much discarded him. All right? It goes on to say, then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Why is wisdom better than strength? Because wisdom will deliver out of any situation. You can have strong men, you can have the top army, on the planet with the top weaponry, but that's not what's going to deliver you. A multitude can't be delivered, by horses or by weaponry or anything of that nature. The people, which are really the Israelites, the elect of Israel, could only be delivered by the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of these scriptures if they are part of the elect at this time. It says, nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The words of a wise man are heard. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. Yeah, because although he gave a right judgment, and he was wise, and they did what he said, and they were delivered, yet they still not going to follow. And this is what's happening right now. Wisdom is crying out. She's uttering her voice in the streets. But the simple ones are not listening. How long you simple ones when you love simplicity? They keep pushing the hand of the Lord away. They keep being reproved. These different groups that know that they're Israelites, especially because they're the ones that are most have the most to lose. And they keep getting the rebuke, they keep getting the correction, the reproof, and they keep not listening. So eventually what's going to happen is they're going to be destroyed, and that without remedy, as the scripture says. It says, the words of wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. Yeah, because although you may have a poor man that's not respected, there are certain individuals out there that can see that, they could look, not everybody out there is stupid. You have people out there, you have Jakes out there that are wise. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Even though he's the devil, polite, that dude was very astute. He's very intelligent. Because when we were out there and he came out there, Apostle Gabar was trying to make a point and bring out a scripture to make the point. And every time he get ready to speak, this truck horn kept blaring, and it was so loud that you couldn't hear it. You couldn't hear what the apostle was saying. And then I believe he said, you know what that is. He said, yeah, I see. He said it. Polite said it. He said, yeah, I see what's going on. I see what's happening. So he picked up on that. So you will have people out there that even though they won't take heed, they listen, and they can perceive, a man that's wise. But because, we're not in the limelight, and we're not viewed in this world as anybody's, they won't really take heed to it. So that's pretty much what it's saying. That then said I, verse 17. The words of wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. Because if you're a fool, everybody will love you. Everybody will listen to you. But a wise man, a real wise man, they're not going to listen to. So the benefits of wisdom is there are instructions to this wisdom, and this wisdom brings benefits, and the benefits are in the form of a reward, which stems into what? Salvation. Because ultimately that's the goal, is salvation, to be protected in these times from the things that are coming, and that is a major benefit. And we read in this article that the individual gave four benefits of wisdom, which one of them is good judgment, number 2, strong character, number 3, it brings honor, and number 4, grows influence. And when you read these scriptures influence. That's why the apostle Peter said, desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby, because this wisdom makes you to grow, and that growth with that wisdom gives benefits, to make you not just grow, but be strong in your foundation. You see? So now let's go from there to the book of Proverbs 24, 1-5. And I'm hoping that that this lesson is making sense. It's edifying. Proverbs 24:1. Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. Yeah, because eventually they're gonna fall. The triumphing of the wicked is short. For their hearts studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom is an house builded. See, so the wisdom, if you have the proper wisdom and you're building a house, the house is going to be sure. Why? Because it's going to be built upon the right foundation, which is Yahushai, which is that rock. It says, and by understanding it is established. See, you want some. You don't only want to build; you want it to be established, but you also want it to be firm, stable, strong, able to withstand winds, able to withstand anything that comes its way. It says, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. So you look at wisdom as a mansion, and all the windows are in place, all the doors are in place, the majestic. You have your curtains, you have your sofas and your recliners, your bookcases, your TV stands and your television, flat screen, whatever. You have your wood floors, nice and polished. You may have some rooms that have rugs. You have your kitchen, your oven, your stove, your sink. Everything is in place. So look at it like a mansion, that's furnished. And knowledge and wisdom and understanding does that. We being the body, we make up that temple, and the words in this book, they're the furniture, and that's why you have certain brothers that are stronger than others in certain areas of the scriptures, but that's all the furniture within the house. So the whole house put together is like a beautiful furnished mansion, for lack of better words, like a gigantic house with all the furnishings and all the trimmings. The paint, nothing is out of place. You have the pictures all in the right place. You have books in the bookshelf. There's no dust, on the bookshelves, on the dressers, on the TV, So it says, verse 5, a wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increases strength. Yeah, because the best form of strength is wisdom. Because you could have a king that has a strong army, but he could be rash. He could be uncouth. He could be just somebody that's not that is not wise. And then you could have a king that may not have the strongest army and the strongest military or the strongest weaponry, but he's very wise, and he's able with that wisdom to deliver his city, from the hands of the enemy. And that's what this wisdom is. This is what the benefit of wisdom is. That's what the scriptures say. And knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. All right, now let's go from there to the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus, the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, see? And the government of a prudent man is well ordered. And that's the point. So if you have, that's why it says, I know it's in Ecclesiastes, I think it's a 10th chapter. Just bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Ecclesiastes 10 and 17. Blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength and not for drunkenness. So look at it like this. The elect are nobility. The elect are royalty. And when you are royal, your parents, the king and his wife, mainly the king, he sets his son to learn the proper discipline, how to run the kingdom, because he'll be the next heir. So he'll have tutors, he'll have people that are mentoring him, that are the heir. So look at this knowledge like that. The elect are the nobles, the royals, and this knowledge is or are the tutors that will get us in the right frame of mind to be able to rule this kingdom. And that's what's happening. Because every kingdom has a government. Every kingdom has a king and rulers and nobles. So you have to be trained in the proper etiquette, with the proper knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be able to rule that kingdom. And these are all parts of the benefits of wisdom. Is that ability to be able to make decisions based off of the experiences that you've gone through, based off of what you learned and how you learned. That's why a lot of these camps are looking bad, because the tutelage is off, the leadership is off. And when we read back in Ecclesiastes 10 verse 2, it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. So if the leader is a scumbag, guess what? The rest of his men are going to be scumbags. If the leader is a sly, conniving cheat, then the people are going to be sly, conniving cheats. If the leader is an honorable man, a wise man, then the people that he leads are going to be honorable and wise. It says, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. It says, an unwise king destroyeth his people. Why? Because they're not going to use the proper wisdom, to guide the people, because they don't have the proper wisdom. All right? It says, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Why? Because it's not going to fall to the enemy, because it's ruled under the right counsel, under the right wisdom, under the right understanding. That's why the Apostle Peter said, Gamaliel said, if this counsel of this work be of men, it will come to naught, but if it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow it. Why? Because it was established upon the principles of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it was established by the decree of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and you cannot overthrow that. So that's pretty much what we're learning. It says the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. That's right. And that's what's happening right now, is we're being groomed, to run a kingdom, to be the governors and leaders of the next government that's coming, underneath, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 41, because remember, the scriptures speak, we just read in Ecclesiastes how the poor man, by his wisdom, delivered the city, because the city took heed. Now, we got an example here in Genesis, the 41st chapter, and the 14th verse, dealing with Joseph. Genesis 41 and 14. It says, then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it, right? So the king went on to tell him both of the dreams that he had, and the dreams that he had were both the same dream, which Joseph broke down to him was going to be the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine. Excuse me. So what did the Pharaoh do? He didn't say, you know what, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, get the hell out of my courts. Matter of fact, throw him back in the dungeon. Nah, he listened to him, and he set him over the affairs. So I just want to kind of, in the interest of time, just kind of jump. You can read the whole chapter, kind of jump down. So when he gave him and told him, what happened and what he should do, because he asked him, what should be done? This is verse 34. Because Joseph told him, look for a man that's able to do all of these things, these affairs, pretty much that Joseph just broke down to him. Verse 34, it says, let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the fruit of those good years that come. Now, why was he able to do this? Because the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, gave him wisdom. See? And he was poor. Why? Because he was a slave, and he was imprisoned. It says, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the Spirit of the Most High is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, For as much as the Most High hath shown thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. So through the Pharaoh listening to the wisdom of Joseph, what happened? Eventually, he was delivered from that famine that was coming. And this is prior to the famine, even this is prior to the plenty, the 7 plenty years taking place. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. So he was the second in command underneath the Pharaoh of the whole Egyptian empire. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. So look at it like a situation like this. Look at this scripture spiritually as doing the will of the Lord, using the wisdom that the Lord gave us, and then being set up in that position, to be arrayed with the beautiful garments and the rings and, and all the trimmings that come with it, in the kingdom of heaven. And this is the scriptures speak about that the man will wear wisdom like a chain or something like that. I can't think of it. I'm not sure if it's in Proverbs or Ecclesiasticus, but that's what it's like. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, Bow the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. So what happened? He took heed to the counsel and the wisdom of Joseph, and what happened? Egypt was delivered from that great famine that came, later on. All right, and that's one example. All right, this is our Proverbs 21 and 22. It says, A wise man scaleth the city of the mighty, and casteth down the strength of the confidence thereof. Yeah, because wisdom is strength. Might doesn't always work. You can have the baddest army and the best weaponry, but wisdom and strategy wins. Like there's a saying in boxing, styles make fights. Ecclesiastes 7:19. Let's go to that. Ecclesiastes 7:19. It says, Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. That's right. So that's because the key to everything is wisdom. Wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all I get understanding. Seek ye the kingdom of heaven first, and all these things shall be added unto thee. Why was King Solomon, given riches and such a great status, that he had, and everything that a man's heart could ever wish for? Because the first thing that he desired was wisdom. You see, to be able to guide such a great people as Israel. Because it all begins with wisdom. Wisdom is a principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. All right. Now let's move on from there to back to Proverbs 8 and 11. Proverbs the 8th chapter and the 11th verse. It says, For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Yeah, because wisdom will deliver from peril. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. Yeah, and how do you learn these things? By wisdom. Now let's go from there to Proverbs 16. And I got a few other precepts. I'll read a few more and then close it out. I think the point is made. Proverbs 16:16. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver? Yeah, because all of that stuff comes later. Because you can have a fool, that has all those riches, and what is he gonna do? He's gonna waste it because he's a fool. You know? But now if you have a wise man, and he becomes wise and understands, you know, and has been exercised and disciplined and things of that nature, then he'll be more equipped mentally, spiritually, to be able to handle those riches, and he won't just waste them as if you was just to give those riches to a fool. You know? That's why they said that about George Bush Sr. You know, they said, what should we do with him? Should we put him over to family business? He said, oh, Lord, no. We'll be in the bread line in 2 weeks. You know? Because he wasn't a wise man. He was a fool. All right, so now let's go from there. Now I want to go back to Wisdom of Solomon, the 10th chapter, and I'm going to go back to the 8th verse. Because there is a taking heed to wisdom, and there is a rejection of wisdom. So you have the two sides. Now, what is the opposite of rejecting wisdom? Well, let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon 10 and 8. It says, for regarding not wisdom, see, they got not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, dealing with Sodom and Gomorrah and the other cities, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness. Because why? They were not wise. So that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. Why? Because the Lord is going to bring, you know, these things to pass like he did back then. He brought the judgment. Yahushua told Abraham what was going to go down, you know, in Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's why the angels were there. And Yahushua stayed with Abraham, speaking to Abraham, while the angels kept moving on that mission. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go to, all right, now I don't know if this is, let's go to Ecclesiastes. Hope you brothers are with me. Ecclesiastes 9 and 18. Let's see what that says. Yep, Ecclesiastes 9:18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, and that's true, because through wisdom you could win wars. It says, but this is the point here, but one sinner destroyeth much good. So you have one sinner that destroyeth much good. Now we have the incidents of who? Achan. Now Israel was getting jacked up. Why? Because Achan did not follow instructions. He didn't follow wisdom, and he took the Babylonian garment. I believe he took some silver, some gold, and some other stuff. And what happened? Israel started losing, and they were like trying to figure out why did this happen? So they had to cast lots. They had to cast lots, and the lot fell in the house of Judah, and then it went all the way down to the house of Achan, and they found out that it was Achan that did it. And guess what? He was destroyed. His family, I think everything that he had was burnt up or something along those lines. I can't remember the full details, but he destroyed his whole shit. And he destroyed the armies of Israel back then at that moment because of the bullshit that he did. You see? Now, let's go from there to the book of 2 Kings, the 17th chapter and the 21st verse. This is another individual that was not wise that destroyed the people. All right, so this is 2 Kings 17 and 21. This is a simple-minded Ephraimite. It says, for he rent Israel from the house of David. The Most High rent Israel from the house of David. And they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, which Jeroboam was an Ephraimite. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. So he caused the northern kingdom to be led away, to be destroyed. So the actions of one man setting up, which is already set up in the spirit, setting up images to worship the calf, the two golden calves, one in Bethel and the other one in Dan, I believe he put. You know, by that act, he destroyed the northern kingdom. So that's what we read in Ecclesiastes 9 and 18. Let me get that real quick again. Ecclesiastes 9 and 18. It says, wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. That's right. Because they didn't take heed to wisdom. Now, I was going to go to this other one. Let me just proofread this real quick. I got one more precept, which that one really makes the point. But I just want to read this real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, you know what? Let's just go to the other one I got. This is Luke, chapter 19. And there was one more. Let me see if I can find that one. I think that might be it. All right, Luke 19 and 41. It says, so Yahushua was ministering, you know, all throughout Israel. And some listened, but the majority rejected. And what happened? Eventually they were destroyed. Luke 19 and 41. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. He cried because he saw all of the death of the Israelites under the hands of the Romans. Men, women, children. It says, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. Yeah, because the wisdom didn't shine to give them, you know, that the prudence to be able to see afar off what was going to happen, and to be able to avoid the destruction that was coming during 70 AD. This is what Yahushua was speaking about. It says, for the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knowest not the time of thy visitation. And Jake today, they don't know the time of their visitation. They're not looking, you know, to the things that are happening, you know. And Jake will tell you in a minute that they love the Lord, you know, they go to church and all that, but they're not really taking heed, and they really don't see the day of their visitation that's coming, which is the time of Jacob's trouble, which is right around the corner. You know, here it is, we're in October. What's today's date? October 15th. You know, we're in the middle of the month. You know, 2 weeks and 1 day, or actually 2 weeks and 2 days away, well actually 2 weeks and 1 day or so away from November. You know, two and a half months left in this year, and things are getting, they're tightening up, and it's going to get worse. So Jake is not looking at the time of their visitation, the things that are about to come upon them, because they're not applying the wisdom, because it wasn't given to them. They weren't tapped in the head to receive it, so they're rejecting it, you know. So they're not looking as to what are the benefits of wisdom. You know, they're only looking for the benefits of this world. And they're going to be destroyed with this world. It's coming. It's coming soon, man. And it's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad out here. You know, people may say, oh, you guys been saying that for the longest. And, you know, you go, I'm walking around, I don't really see nothing going on. It's, they, you know, things are going back to normal. I'm going to the Cumberland Farms, and I can get my own lid. I don't have to go to the cash register so they can peel me off a lid. I can get my own lid. I can get my own coffee now. They don't have to make my coffee anymore. You know? I can grab my own donuts. But you shouldn't be eating that fucking crap anyway. You know, so they're thinking that things are getting back to normal. But that's, as we spoke about before, that's just the calm before the storm. This is the eye of the storm. The calmest part of the storm. Before the worst part of the storm comes. You know? So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers have been edified. I pray that this was an edifying lesson to brothers, you know. And it's just a, you know, a form of looking at this truth, you know, as the benefits of wisdom, you know, and they have a full body spiritual full body benefit, you know. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom.